Hey, everybody, welcome back. Time for another edition of This Show is JK with your friends Jason and Keith, or as we like to call it, Powell and Pals. I worked on that because when I did it before as kind of a joke, when we did it last week, I kept going Powell and Pals, not enunciating, and it sounded horrible. How are you?
I'm good. One of us likes that name.
What, Powell and Pals?
Powell and Pals,
I like it. I think it sums it up, doesn't it? I'm the pal. You get first billing.
It's not my name.
It is now. We've been away for a while, and we have I don't know if we have a lot. I have a lot to talk about. I hope Keith Lee has. I'm sure Keith has a few things, but we do have the return of the military aircraft bracket, which on my Instagram is ready to crown a Final Four.
Oh,
but we are still in the round of 16, as I recall. And unfortunately, I think I lost, but we can do this. It's not a problem. I lost a couple of our seeds, so I'm pretty sure I know who won from each of our things, so that's not a big deal. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. There's been a lot that's been happening with coronavirus. The NFL draft happened. You're particularly happy about that.
My team had a good draft, yes.
They did. Talked about the aircraft bracket. We'll talk about COVID. How are you feeling? What's going on? What's new? What's exciting? What'd you do this weekend? We couldn't go golfing yet because they hadn't opened it yet.
No, but I have a story. I went out Sunday.
I like stories.
I thought, I'm going to go on this walk. I'm going to walk the 18 like I usually do.
Right.
But as I went out the door and opened my garage door and saw my golf clubs there, I thought, you know what? I learned on my last walk that there's a chipping green there.
Yes.
And from the last time you and I played together, I need to work on my short game.
Oh, we all do.
I thought, you know what? I'm just going to take my bag out there and go chip and work on a short game. No big deal.
Right.
Well, there were some other people there, and I spent about 2 hours out there, not really happy with what was happening. Not, again, I don't play enough to get better, but I get mad when I don't get better. So that's that hyper competitiveness that John Pennell instilled in me from way back in third grade.
I'm trying.
So I was there and I was putting my clubs away, and this other guy had been in the parking lot for a little bit, parked next to my car. He goes, I can help you with that short game. I said, oh, really?
And he just took your clubs and told you to leave. Was that the solution? Because that's what they've done for me.
That's what I thought was coming, actually. But no, he said, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he said, I'm a pro. I'm a golf pro. I've been through the school and everything.
That's what I like to say, too. I like to tell the girls that I'm a pro.
Yeah, he said, I am about, once the virus thing is over, he said, I'm probably going to be the golf pro at the bomb holder course.
Oh, cool. All right.
So I spent another hour out there just working off the frog hair, trying to chip it the way he was telling me professionally to do it.
Working off the frog hair. That's neat.
And my problem is I have a problem trusting myself to hit down on the ball.
Okay.
And popping it up.
Right.
Because, I'm what they call a picker anyway. I don't leave divots. Or if I'm hitting the way I want to, I don't leave divots.
Right.
There's chances I leave divots and the ball doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But but he wants me to leave a divot.
Okay.
Hit down on the ball, pop it up, and chip it onto the green.
Okay.
And that's so I still have a lot of work to do on that. But that's my golf story from Sunday, and been working hard, actually, on work-related stuff over the last couple of days.
Yeah, the story's good. It got a lot of play. I was out there, I'm trying to think, Saturday or Sunday? I think it was Saturday. Yeah, it had to be Saturday, because we went out and we're like, we want to get some lunch and we want to go eat. We want to go eat in some green space, right? We wanted to sit somewhere and eat. And before it really came down, Chili's had their tables outside of their building, so you could just grab some food out of Chili's and sit there and eat. And kind of the same way that you can walk out of the big BX and you can sit out there and nosh. I mean, people are still like, why are they allowed to sit outside and eat? And
you know what? I
like,
saw
whatever.
People doing that over the weekend, and I thought of you.
Yeah.
And I said, what? I don't understand the issue. Why is somebody complaining about this?
Because they can't, or I don't know. But anyway, so we couldn't really find anywhere because we did actually get food from Chili's. Annabelle likes a certain particular dish right now from Chili's, so we ordered to sort of go, all right, well, we'll get something healthy to eat from there. And we picked it up, and then we're like, all right, well, we can go eat. So we're driving around, and if you go over by the golf course, the pool is there, right? The indoor pool. But outside of the indoor pool are a couple of tables, and nobody was sitting at them. The pool's closed, so we sat there and ate. And that's what I think I told you. I shot you a photo, didn't I? No, I think I just told you that people were chipping and putting just outside of the golf course right there, right onto the little woodgy green there. And I was like, oh, Powell will want to do this. He'll want to come out here. And so it sounds like you did get to do that. But did you say you went Saturday or Sunday?
I went Sunday.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I was trying to find the pool because you had told me that.
Right.
And I was trying to figure out, how do you go from Chili's to the pool to eat?
We were just driving around trying to find somewhere to sit, literally just looking for a table. And we'd almost given up. And then I said, oh, well, why don't we sit there? And she's like, oh, okay, that's fine. Because it was a beautiful day. It was like one of the last of the beautiful days before we get the rain today. And it was perfect. So we're like sitting out there and eating these chips and salsa and these... They make these like loaded buffalo wings, which are really more like loaded chicken nuggets or whatever, but they're really good. I mean, they're one of those things like, hey, I'm going to break my diet, and so I did that. And yeah, it was pretty good. So, are you? What the heck's going on?
I don't know. I did something, and
now you're messing around.
I am.
All right, everybody. Keith's giving a Skype lesson right now. Let's be very quiet.
No, I'm not. I'm screwing things up.
Looks like he turned his camera around. Is that window actually on your right, or is it on your left?
Which window?
The one that the light is coming through that I could see half of your head in.
This one over here or this one?
I don't know. There's
this one.
The one that's closest to you.
The blue one is on my left.
Okay, so then whatever you did reversed the image. Right. And I could see the bottom bar of your computer now. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah, I hit share screen by accident, and I don't know.
Oh, that's what you did. Okay, all right. Is mine still shared, or am I good?
No, you're good.
Oh,
it's just this thing. I'm seeing a big face of me when I should be seeing a big face of you, and I can't figure out how to change it. Anyway, let's go on.
The technical wonders of Powell and Powell. So,
not my name.
Keith Pennell is with us today. I guess we should update people on what's happening with us and COVID. So. There will be easing that begins probably next week that will open up all of the Army facilities. I think they're waiting on something else on the Air Force side to do something. But there was something today I saw. I'm trying to remember what it was where they said
the aforementioned golf course was supposed to open today.
Did it?
And Chili's and P.F. Chang's. So you could sit inside.
You could sit, right, but they were going to make you sit like 40 feet apart or something, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Right.
But that was, and oh, by the way, I don't know if you caught my message the other day.
Yeah.
The golf course is open or will be open, but only for members.
Okay.
Which I think they don't want to deal with money and things like that yet.
Okay.
I think it's shitty, but I understand it. It just doesn't do me any good.
Keep hitting buttons on my touchscreen monitor, and I accidentally did something where it did a screenshot, and now I don't know what the hell to do. All right, anyway, you're still here. The good news is you're still on screen. So the German state that we live in, and the one that is just southwest of us, have put mask orders into place, so now you have to go everywhere with a mask on. So essentially, I just walk out the door now and hang my mask off my face before we walk out, and that makes it easy enough.
Right.
I saw most everybody is wearing masks, so we all look like we're in a Dustin Hoffman film, so I suppose that's okay. And so there's that, and Angela Merkel's being criticized for her handling of the COVID crisis. I'm not sure why, but I saw that headline. I have not drank any bleach. I don't think you have.
I have not.
No, I think we're still stable. So my feeling right now, and I'm just giving you my raw sort of emotional feeling is, I think we're coming to the end of this. Maybe not. Maybe I'm way wrong, but I feel like we're coming to. I think we've reached a place where a lot of people have sort of reached their limit on hold or reached their limit in the waiting room. That kind of feel, right? And we're sort of just anxious and we're ready to kind of go. And I think either by force of human will or something, maybe we have flattened the curve enough and done all those things, but I just feel like we're at the end of this. And if, the businesses that are opening up back home or even here are some indicator of that, I think that's – oh, okay, that's what that is. I hit a spring on my microphone stand. I was like, wow, it sounds like a neat bass chord. If there's any indicator of that, then I think we're close to it. I feel like we're just near the end of this, and maybe we're not. Again, I think there's some things that are going till June. We were supposed to go see Trevor Noah up in Frankfurt next month. That's canceled. Pretty sure our KISS thing is for sure still canceled, right? And
well, she said the chancellor said that no concerts or stadium games until August.
Right.
So since the concert was supposed to be in July, I was so happy that that's a bucket list from third grade of mine to see KISS in concert.
Right.
And well, at least I have the ticket.
And that was pretty thoughtful of Boss to kind of do that and all that. So I mean, that's kind of a drag. So unless those things start to return, but again, that makes sense to me because if we flatten the curve, okay, but you still tend to keep people apart because they may be infectious, and then you sort of wait till it really gets down until you start meeting in masses again. On the other hand, there's been some weird arguments toward like herd immunity. I had never heard that. I think I'd heard it like once or twice before, and somebody had shared an article about like Sweden is forcing their people to get herd immunity. But then I thought, how many possible cases are there in Sweden? And because they talked about Stockholm and just people are going to wander around, and I thought, well, that's Sweden. Again, another country that probably isn't as affected by this as say Spain is or Italy is, and and the reality is Spain and Italy and South Korea and some countries are very highly affected by this and some are not. And you could talk about herd immunity all day in countries that have 6 cases versus 6 million. So, I mean, I think I don't know. Again, my gut is that we're coming to sort of the end of this. And to me, I can, even amongst our colleagues, I can feel some frustration like, okay, let's move on. I've enjoyed the public affairs aspect of this, our job aspect of this very much in terms of the things we get to do, and we're practicing during crisis and all of those things. That's pretty cool. But I think a lot of people just want to, like you said, go golf and do their thing. And what do you think?
I think there's light at the end of the tunnel right now. Mm-hmm. I'm just looking it up. There are 19,621 cases in Sweden, 2,355 deaths, and 1,005
deaths
recovered. 2,000
in
deaths.
Sweden.
In Sweden.
I had no idea it was that many. Well, surprise to me then. All right, well, that's fair.
So that herd immunity.
Herd immunity, right.
Is not going very well.
Well, I mean, again, I think that it's the notion that I just think it's – I don't want to get into it. I think a lot of smart people have spent time telling us the right things to do, and we should be doing those things. And I think a lot of people who have notions about what they see in the media or what they think is the best practice, who are not doctors or scientists or engineers or other people, believe that this is the right solution. It's kind of like, yeah, you may think that holding your breath for a second to stop your diaphragm from spasming is the best solution, but there is an old school, drink castor oil and stomp your foot on the ground that does it every time. And because somebody thought that, that's what, that's to me is herd immunity. I mean, I suppose there's some science to it. I need to read up more about it. But to me, that's, somebody with no background says, what about herd immunity? Well, what about this? And then there's this other discussion of, well, it seems to be happening in places where places are more densely populated. Like, no shit. Really? Where there's more people, there's more cases? I don't believe it. Are you kidding? That's your observation? Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, of course there are. And there's a reason why people move to population centers, because there's jobs, there's better quality of life, there's more money, there's better opportunities. There's all sorts of reasons why people live in Philadelphia and Chicago and Houston and Los Angeles and Seattle and Oklahoma City and San Diego, because things happen there versus living in Four Corners, New Mexico, or whatever small town you want to name where people don't necessarily come to in droves. And, so when somebody says, well, there seem to be more cases where more people are. No shit. It's like the Bill Burr joke when he said, well, there seem to be, or he said, he read a report that Bill Burr says, he read a report that says there seem to be more shark attacks near the shore. It's like, no shit. That's where all the people are swimming and frolicking and wiggling their legs around to be eaten. Like, no kidding. So, again, I'm a big believer in people who are 30, 40 times smarter than I'll ever be and doing their part to say, this is what we need to do to solve this crisis. I'm a very good follower. I'm a very good listener, and I'm very good at doing that. And when people come up with cockamamie solutions and notions that, well, we should be doing it this way, and it just, to me, it shouldn't work. I mean, I'm sorry. I feel strongly about that right now. I don't know why I feel so strongly about it right now, but it just, to me, it's just it feels like a crock of shit, and people will. And then the worst part is when this is over, people always look back and go, Captain Hindsight. Well, if we had just done that, none of this would have happened. And see, I told you I was right. Well, a lot of people are going to be right in this situation, and a lot of people are going to be wrong. But all right,
there is a light at the end of the tunnel, I believe.
Yeah,
I don't believe that we're there yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really impressed, I guess is the word, with how Chancellor Merkel is handling the thing.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, and this isn't a public affairs honk saying this, it's how our commanders are handling this. And being.
I think it's okay to say that. I think they're doing a good job. I mean, why is it wrong to say that? I think that they've been prudent, they've been measured, they've been pragmatic. I think the DOD in general has done a fantastic job. And it has sort of said, well, you may be doing this, but this is what we're going to do to protect our troops and our families. And that's great. I think it's great that they alter. And I agree with you on that. I think the DOD is doing a good job. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that out loud. I think we, as a whole, as an entity, are doing a great job protecting troops and doing things. It doesn't mean there aren't cases. It doesn't mean there aren't issues. But on the whole, I think the DOD is doing a pretty good job.
Agreed. And what drives me crazy is, and we both have friends, Facebook, social media friends, is the economy, the small business owners. And my answer to that is, but how are the small business owners going to survive if they're sick, if you've made them sick, if the populace is sick? So, I'm not a small business owner. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Well, and I think there's a notion too, and maybe I'm just wrong, but there's a notion that people just think we're just past this. Or maybe it's that we're a small enough town and we just don't have enough people who have it, so I need to open my business to get these people back in. And I can kind of see that, actually. I mean, if you're not affected by it, then why shouldn't you be doing business? But on the other hand, I just read something this morning, something about I think it was somewhere in Tennessee, where cases just spiked unreal, and they've just opened businesses. So I mean, it's a double-edged sword. And
after they open businesses,
business, right? And so I mean, I haven't heard how Georgia's doing yet, as that is still my home of taxation. And I think again, there's going to be a multiple. I still love one of my favorite sayings ever. It came from Star Trek. I think it's Star Trek: The Next Generation, and Picard says, "You can be right and in the right place, but that still doesn't mean you're not wrong." And that's true. I mean, you can have all the right answers and say all the right things, but that doesn't mean you're still not wrong about things. And I think a lot of people are going to be right, and a lot of people are going to be wrong, and that's what a crisis sort of brings, and that's what a pandemic is, right? I think the thing that's driving me nuts is there are people who are saying, you can care about the economy and getting people back to work and stopping the virus all at the same time. No shit. Everybody's doing that. All the smart people are doing that. No shit. That's exactly
what. You're banging the desk and your video's vibrating.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're all caring about all those things, and the measures they've come up with are the ones they think, in light of what's happening, are the ones to do things. It drives me fucking bananas. Because they see the world in their little polarized lenses. Well, he only cares about taking care of sick people, and it's going to ruin business. No, that's not what it is. I don't care about anything. I'm a follower in this instance, right? And you are too. We follow. We do what we're told. You have been cooped up in your house for 3 weeks. Not cooped up, but you know what I mean. You have been basically forced to sit at your home because you cannot go to work, right? We've talked about that a few times. I mean, and you want to go to work. You want to be there. You want to be social. I want to see you on my days. And I'm sitting there alone going, ugh, with my thumb up my ass going, hey, where's Keith? I got nobody to talk to. Right?
As we were talking about your evaluation. Nice.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's you can care about the economy. You can care about putting people back to work, and you can care about taking care of sick people and stopping the virus. And people are doing that, and these are the measures they've come up with to do that. And I don't understand people who just voice that opinion. You can be someone who's this. No shit. Got it. Thanks. Just like, get off Facebook.
Nobody wants the economy to tank. Nobody wants small business owner to tank.
I just need to stop reading Facebook.
We all want to be healthy.
I need to stop reading Facebook. Yeah. That's all it fucking comes down to. You're listening to this show is a JK with Jason and Keith. 20 minutes in, and I think that was my first rant.
You're hot about this. I finally got you on screen now, and
it's my own fault for ingesting too much social media. That's the thing that we talked about. I think 2 episodes ago, not to do. We're doing. So,
well, just Sunday, I've decided. I made a deal with myself.
Deal with the devil.
Read it, pretty much. Read it. Don't respond to it. No matter how dumb it seems, no matter how off the wall,
right.
How weird, just don't respond to it. Read it, shake your head, cuss, yell at the computer, whatever. Don't respond. And that's where it is, because facts, I've learned over the last 2 months, almost 3 months now, facts are not going to change somebody's opinion.
Well,
all right, moving on.
Well, and that if the lens through which we are ingesting all of this material is Facebook, then that in and of itself is a problem. And that we consume that because it's our family and our friends, and we don't think it's not going to be like that really shitty Thanksgiving where they offer the same stupid fucking opinions, and when they're at the table in the house, that they won't share those things on Facebook now. They are, and they're coming to light. And I've gone a step further than you, which is I don't even read a lot of the shit. All I've got to do is see the image, and I'm like, whoosh. Or I'll just read the first few words, and I'll go, whoosh. There's so much shit that can just pass through like diarrhea. It's unbelievable. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the NFL draft. Did you watch any of it?
I did not, because as you know, it's on at an ungodly hour here due to the time difference.
Right.
And no, so I woke up that first morning after the night before when they had the draft, and of course I'm a Cowboys fan. That's no secret. And I saw that they picked an OU boy, and it's CeeDee Lamb, and he's one of the top 3 receivers in the draft.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. And the Cowboys had Jera said this is probably the best draft since 2005.
Well, he says that every year. So Joe Burrow went first. That's Keith Ewan's boy.
Yes.
Chase Young, I don't even know who that is. Second, Jeff Okudah, 2 Ohio State guys. I mean, they're going to outpace USC for most professional draftees. They probably already have. Giants took an offensive tackle. Tua taken a lot sooner than I thought he would be, actually. He got taken 5th. I thought he would go lower because of the knee injury.
And the hip.
Were you surprised by that? I'm not surprised. Oh, the hip. That's what or whatever he injured last year.
You know, I'm of 2 minds about that. With what he did before he got injured, I think who was it that took him? I don't remember.
Miami. Great fit.
That's right, Miami. If he's healthy, they have who's it? Fitzpatrick down there now.
Yeah, he's
that
good.
Could teach him and mold him.
Yeah.
And help him out over a year or 2 until he gets up to speed?
Well, he's drafted 5th. I mean, I think that tells me he can make the reads. When you see a quarterback go late, like 17, 18, 19, that always tells me he can't make the reads. And when they can't make the reads, then they're a project, right? So if you go in that top 10, where I guess the next one was Justin Herbert, who I know nothing about. I swear I need to watch more college football. I'm sensing that you can not only have a big arm and you can see over the line, which was the Doug Flutie thing and every small quarterback thing. But you can make the reads. You can go through the progressions, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because that's a knock on a lot of college quarterbacks is they're just running a set play in their head. So they're going to run to a point, they're going to look for the receiver over there, and they're going to throw it because the talent that they have on their team is 55,000 times better than the talent that's on the opposite side, and that guy's going to be open no matter what. Versus going, oh, he's not open. I better go look to this second guy. Oh, he's not open. I better look to the middle to the third guy. Nobody's open. I better run. So I think that's good. I'm a fan of Tua's. I'm glad he went. Herbert was 6. Derek Brown, again, don't know who that is. Defensive tackle 7. Isaiah Simmons. So this is defense, offensive tackle. And ladies and gentlemen, your Las Vegas Raiders were at 12. So they took They
took Jason Witten, damn it.
No, well, that was earlier. That was even I'm still like, what? They took Henry Ruggs III from Alabama, who must be pretty good since he's picked 12th. And they already have no, they traded him. That's right. Lose my head. So I guess they're getting a good wide receiver for Mariota or for Carr, whoever gets that job at the beginning of the year, because I'm sure that Gruden is going to compete that job.
Of course.
But they picked late, and we're not going to go over the later rounds, but they picked 2 more receivers in the later rounds, and I thought, wow, are they just short on receivers? Did we not need more defense? So that's interesting to me. But then it was offensive tackle, defensive tackle, and then it was Jerry Jeudy from Alabama, the wide receiver, and then it was defense, and then ding, it's Keith's Dallas Cowboys with C.D. Lamb. Now, I know nothing about C.D. Lamb other than he has a name that is phonetically spelled out. What else is he? I mean, is he good? Is he not good?
He's good. He's got size. In fact, the 2 Alabama receivers you just mentioned, depending on who you listen to as far as draft, quote-unquote, experts, those were intermingled at different numbers, 1, 2, 3, depending on who you talk to.
Okay.
So for him to be at 17, wasn't it?
He was at 17. Yeah, 17.
For him to be at 17, as Jarrah said, you couldn't pass that up. You need to give another target to Dak, so he's big, he's fast, he's got great hands, he blocks downfield.
Right. He's
just amazing. He returned punts. He was the big playmaker for OU.
Yeah.
And I think he's a huge, if you pardon the pun, he's a huge, great catch for Dallas. I'm excited to see him. Speaking of which, I just heard this week that Dallas has been working with Des Bryant.
That's interesting. I don't know what to say. I guess they are not hot on Amari Cooper. He must. Maybe that's why we traded him, is because there's something about him that just, that's like who was the guy that was a real cancer? Kevin Carter. I think he was the one who traveled to like 6 different teams, and he was a stud, like defensive tackle or defensive end.
Right.
And everybody thought he was just going to tear down the building, and all of a sudden, well, we don't need him here in Tennessee, and he moved on to L.A., Rams, and or with St. Louis, whatever it was, and then we don't need him here, and all of a sudden he's out of the NFL, and you're like, And there's a lot of guys you can kind of look and go, well, he seems to have been at a lot of teams, and you wonder if that's Amari Cooper's MO here. It's interesting they're even talking about your guy. All right, let's move on, and so we don't bore the shit out of people. Defense, offense, and then Raiders took a corner, Damon Arnett, Ohio State. Josh Gray would probably tell me he's really, really, really good. And I'm looking at the picks, which is usually the most interesting part of the draft, and it doesn't look like anybody traded picks or moved up. I don't see any of that in the first round. Do you?
Not in the first round.
No, not in the first round, yeah. That's usually the most exciting part of the draft is when you're like, oh, they moved up to take Ryan Leaf, that kind of thing. I was waiting. All right.
The Chargers regret that.
So then, let's see. Outside linebacker to Jacksonville, wide receiver. I'm looking for names at this point. And no real, again, not that I know, no real notable names toward the end of the draft. Clyde Edwards-Helaire of LSU went as the last pick of that round. Who is Mr. Insignificant this year?
I don't know.
All right, let me look.
I usually see a story on it. While you're looking that up, let me ask you.
Okay.
Have we had a show since Gronk signed?
We did. That was the show we did. That was the day we did. That was the day it happened. Actually, that was last Thursday. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Or it was Wednesday, but I released it on Thursday because I got a little behind. So, Tay Crowder of Georgia, 6'2", 235, was Mr. Insignificant.
What position?
Inside linebacker. He went to New York.
Huh.
Yeah. So let's see. Who else? Who did Dallas pick in the 7th round? Ben DiNucci of James Madison. I had a friend who went to James Madison. And they had no other picks that round. So anyway, Tay Crowder was Mr. Insignificant. Yeah, I didn't watch it either, mostly because I wasn't interested, but it started at 2 a.m. I do like how they've turned it into kind of a primey-timey thing, where they made it a show. I've always wondered when they were going to do it, and they finally got around to doing it. It was probably just getting the owners and others to agree to the format and, sucking up and doing it, that kind of thing. So
I've seen some video from quote-unquote draft rooms. Normally – everybody's crowded into one room at the team complex or whatever. But now they're all separate. Mm-hmm. Andy Reid was doing it from his basement in his house. He said, the dog may walk in, whatever. I forget who it was.
That sounds like the PR person was hard at work setting that up. We just need it to be more genuine. This will be great.
Yeah. I think it was a Vikings coach. I remember reading. I read Peter King every week.
Okay.
And so he was talking about, or maybe it was a Giants coach, since Peter King is a honk for the Giants.
He's such a honk.
You could hear kids. You might hear kids yelling in the background. You might hear my wife asking me to go rake the league. You never know.
Love it.
So yeah. That's
but he's really like, hey, cool. I won the Super Bowl last year, so fuck you. Basically, is what he. How about I do it the way I want to do it, right?
That's right.
Well, yeah, I haven't watched it in a while. And there was no way I was going to stay up that late to do it.
Oh, no.
It just wasn't going to happen. And then the latter rounds were going on the next days, and I thought, I should see who the Raiders – and I looked at who the Raiders drafted, and I was kind of like, I'm not that interested. And it's because I didn't really catch college football a lot last year. It was because we moved, and we got here, and there just was a lot going on, so I didn't really follow. All right, so you're happy with what Dallas did, yeah?
I am, and I'm happy with the OUDNA that went to the NFL this year, another first-rounder. I'm losing his name, first name, Murray, an outside linebacker. What was cool about that is I saw on Twitter, and then I ended up following him, was 3 years ago. He said, I'm going to be drafted in the first round as an outside linebacker.
Okay.
Watch. And then he came back the day of the draft of the first round and said, I did it, ! And then showed the 3-year-old tweet underneath, and I thought that's just really cool. It'd be cool if any player did it. It's even better that it's an OU player.
Didi was telling me a story about Steve Harvey today, and I have a hot-cold relationship with him as a performer and as a person, but in general I like him. And so the story went something like, in school, Steve Harvey was asked what he wanted to do when he grew up, and he wrote on a piece of paper, I want to be on TV. And he gave that to the teacher, and the teacher basically laughed him out of the room. Who in your family's on TV? Who did this? Da-da-da-da. So he went home, and he showed the piece of paper to his mom, and his mom's like, how are you going to get on TV? Blah, 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 blah. And so she didn't really berate him, but she wasn't, she was trying to, I guess she was more in support of the teacher. But he got to his dad, and his dad is like, look, turn in something that says like plumber to the teacher, but you keep this and put it in your dresser drawer, and you open up your dresser drawer and you look at it every day, and you remember that this is what you want to do. This is your thing, and that's what he did. And then she, it was an Oprah thing. I forget what it's called, but James Taylor was on it, a few others, and he persevered. He slept in his car. He did all the things that you kind of hear performers do, and then he got his break. And he said the anecdote was that now each year he sends the teacher a television. Just to say, hey, guess who's still on TV or something, which I thought was a fantastic coup de grace. Awesome. So I can respect that. I can respect that immensely. And but he's got some views that I don't necessarily care for. So, by the way, all of my opinions earlier are my personal opinions. They are not those of my employer or anyone under my employ. Okay, so it's time to get back to our military aircraft bracket look here. So in the last round, we picked F-14 Tomcat versus... I think we
remind me to send you a picture I took last year at this day last year that came up in my memories of an F-14 at Davis Mountain, the Boneyard, but the museum they have there. All right, there you go.
All right, that's good. It was an F-14 versus B-58. It was I don't remember if we picked F-35 or B-2. I think we picked B-2.
We picked the 2, yeah.
Yeah, versus the F-4 Corsair or the Eurofighter. That's one I can't remember.
Corsair.
My poll picked the Eurofighter, just so you know.
They're stupid.
F-15 versus F-5. I know we picked F-15 for that, as did my peeps in my poll. And then B-52 versus A-7, they also picked B-52, so we knew that one. A-10 versus F-105, that was A-10. We knew that and was very sorry that the Thunder Chief lost, but I threw it in a lark. And then we had the Viggen versus the Vulcan, and we definitely chose the Vulcan there. Let's see. The SR-71 went up against the MiG. That was, of course, the SR-71. That's no question there. And then we had the Spitfire versus the Flying Fortress, and I think you and I sent the Flying Fortress forward. So
we flipped a coin, and this Flying Fortress is going.
I think it was the Flying Fortress. Somebody will correct us. One of our 6 listeners will correct us if that's wrong. And if not, guess what? We're sending the Flying Fortress forward now.
That's right.
We had the Raptor and the Globemasters. That was easy. That was F-22. And then the Hornet versus the Harrier. That's the one I don't remember. The poll that I'm conducting sent forward the Hornet. Did we do the Harrier or the Hornet?
I chose the Hornet. I believe you did too.
All right. So
I believe I talked you into it.
I think that's exactly right. Yeah, you did. Mustang versus Sabre. That was Mustang. And then the Starfighter versus the Stratotanker. I believe we picked the Stratotanker, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did.
In a mild upset, yes.
Yes, that's right. It's our military background for sure. Then we had the Tornado versus the Galaxy. I think we chose the Tornado, didn't we? Or did we choose?
We did.
Okay.
No, we took. Yeah.
Well, which was it?
No, the Tornado. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then I know we chose the F4. All right, so that's ours. The bracket that's online was so the bracket is online is down to the final 8. Here are the final 8s right now. We'll see where we get with ours. Tomcat versus F-35. F-15 versus Warthog. These are the ones they're voting on right now. There's like 300 votes right now. SR-71 versus F-22, and then P-51 versus F-4. I have a feeling we're going to end up something close to that. So let's get this done. Because we need to finish this up in this episode or people are going to lose their shit. Because they want to hear us talk about other insignificant, dumb things. So F-14 versus B-58. This is no contest for me. I'll pick a Tomcat all day. I love the B-58, and I might pick it on a lark. But there's something really magical about the F-14, and I don't know if that just came from Top Gun or the other movie that it's been in, Final Countdown, but there's just something spooky magical about the F-14. I can't explain it any other way. And because in the online poll, it's killing. Like, it's not even close. It's like 90-8 or 92-8.
Wow.
It's been that way each time it's gone up. So what do you say?
Oh, without a doubt, it's the Tomcat. Without a doubt,
That's Tomcat. All right, so we don't. So B-2 versus the Corsair. You got the historical Pappy Bollington versus the Flying Wing B-2.
You know, the Corsair was not only instrumental in the South Pacific, but it also flew in
the musical or like the actual theater of war.
The theater of war.
See, that's pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. You almost got me to laugh. I see. But the B-2 is just cosmic. I'm going with the Corsair.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to take the Corsair there as well, believe it or not. I like the B-2, but the fact that they're making the new bomber that looks exactly like it, it's like, you had a chance to make like a big, ugly bomber that just filled with bombs again. They just did this, but they know better than me.
21? Is that what it is? The B-21?
Yeah, I think it is the 21. Yeah, I think you're right. F-15 versus B-52. This is tough for me because I got an incentive ride in an F-15 for winning something of the year. I don't remember. It was a while ago. And I've ridden on the inside of a B-52 right before it taxied off to launch the first cruise missile in Iraq. These are tough, and I like both planes, but if I had to pick a popularity favorite, it would be the B-52, no question.
And by the way, anything that's been around since 1950. 54, I think it was, and is still flying and killing bad guys. Yeah. As much as I love the 15 in a book I'm reading right now, is or just finished reading was about F-15Es. No, I'm going with the buff. B-52.
Me too, and that differs tremendously from online because they had the 15 winning 85-15 on that one, so we definitely differ there.
Well, the F-15 is sexy and sleek and pointy nose, and that's what people like.
It's very generic, though. I mean, it's fighter, and it's probably of like the F-16 to me is definitely like the Ralph's generic food fighter to me. It's still a great fighter, it doesn't mean anything, but it's not very sexy looking. Like the F-35 is one of the ugliest planes I've ever seen in a while, but it's very capable. Whereas the F-22 is an amazing looking plane. F-15 is pretty cool looking, but it all goes back to the 14. All right, so this was the same thing online. A-10 versus Vulcan. Who you got? I'm going to hold mine. I
know what you're going with, and I'm going. Oh, we're not doing video, but see, I've got my little statue.
I see it. Yep.
Here of an A-10. A-10 is.
I should bring over my model that I haven't built yet.
The A-10 is my favorite airplane. It flies. It's slow. There's I'm going to do sound effects here, so bear with me. There was an audio thing going around years ago that said the difference between the F-16 and the A-10 and it's takeoff. So you get the jet noise of the F-16, that kind of thing. Right. And then now the A-10, as it takes off.
Like it's a pod racer?
So, but you know what? It does its job better than any other aircraft. And the fact that it was slated to be mothballed 10 years ago, but they said that the powers that be finally pulled their head out of their ass and said, you know what? This airframe does the job it needs to do, which is protect the people on the ground. So I'm going with the A-10. Are we going to have to flip a coin?
No, I'll go with that. My former coworker, by the way, led that charge to save the A-10, Representative Martha McSally. I love the Vulcan bomber, probably more than...
As do I.
Yeah, but I'll concede to that. All right, SR-71 versus the B-17 Flying Fortress. Again, to me, there's no contest here, and we differ online. The Blackbird here beat the Spit 59-41, so that was close. That was closer than I inspected.
Wow.
And then, let's see. Yeah, that's right. So, this is the first round of that. So, so the Blackbird beat the Spit here 59-41. So what do you like here? I like the Blackbird just because it's just cool. And it did a lot of things, but if you think about the history of the Flying Fortress and what it did in World War II and all the lives and all of that, it's pretty amazing. But just as airplanes go, I'd pick the Blackbird.
You mentioned earlier, I've had an incentive ride in the B-17. Amazing. Walking on the catwalk, in flight between the Bombay and it's amazing. But...
Tough, right?
Man, that is tough.
That's a tough one.
I'll go with the Blackbird.
If you've done Air Force long enough, it's tough.
Yeah, I'll go with the Blackbirds just because of the B-17 won World War II in Europe.
Pretty much.
The SR-71 was hush-hush, in a hush-hush way, helped win the Cold War.
Yeah.
So I'll go with the Blackbird.
All right, we'll go with the Blackbird. In the other round for this one, it was the Raptor versus the Hornet. Online, and it's for us, it's the Raptor versus the Hornet. And online, the Raptor won 56-44. No question for me, it'd be the Raptor all day.
No problem.
All right, it's an easy one. The P-51 Mustang versus the KC-135 Stratotanker. Who you got? So online, 64-36 Mustang against the Starfighter in this case.
I can't not go against the Mustang.
It's a great plane.
If it was going against something else, that'd be different. But again, we talked about the B-17 winning in Europe, winning the war in Europe.
Right.
It was the P-51 that enabled that. Once that came online and it was able to escort the B-17s over Germany, deep into Germany, and wherever else, that helped the B-17 change the war. So as much as I love and have a heart, again, I've been on the KC-135 numerous times, been in the boom pod during refuelings and all that.
I've done.
I'll go with the P-51.
Probably been on a 135 for refueling missions 2 or 3 dozen times now that I think about it. Yeah, but we'll send the P-51 forward. Poor Stratotankers and cargo planes. I think they're finally out. Let's see. Yep, that's it. We're only into attack and bombers now. All right, and the Tornado versus the F-4. Again, online, the Phantom won this one 68-32. No question for me, it's the Phantom.
I don't know. They're both of the same mold. But they can attack. They can dogfight. Because of what we talked about last time, there's still countries flying the F-4. So I'll go with the F-4.
Yeah, it's pretty venerable, V-E-N, that kind of venerable. Okay, so that's it. That leads us to our round of 8. Now, the round of 8 online is Tomcat Lightning, Eagle Warthog, Blackbird Raptor, which I think is a great matchup, and Mustang Phantom. Let me give you an update on where those are at right now. So, in the Tomcat is killing the Lightning 86-14. The Eagle is beating up your Warthog 62-38. The Raptor is in a close one with the Blackbird 59-41, and this is at least on Instagram 200. Let me refresh Instagram. Maybe I need to open it and close it because it was at 208 last time I checked. Yep, so we're at about 250 votes. 86-14. So Eagle's up 62-38. Raptor 59-41. The Phantom is grazing the Mustang 60-40. So that's where everything's at. So let's get to ours. Your first matchup is the F-14 Tomcat versus the P-4 Corsair. Again, for me, it's going to be Tomcat. I don't see any challenge for this until what I think will be the round of 4. Actually, it may not even be till the final, but I just don't see a challenger. The F-35 is an ugly plane. Or I'm sorry. The Corsair, I'm looking at the bracket online. The Corsair is a fantastic plane, and it's been on TV and all of that, but it's not my era. So, I grew up with Tomcat. I was around Tomcat, so easy pick for me.
I think, like I said, any platform that can carry a missile, that can reach out and take out your eyeball at 150 miles. You got to. I mean, the F-4U Corsair is beautiful. It did its job. Flew in several campaigns.
Right.
But I'll go with the Tomcat just based on my, like you said, the first time I ever saw it was the Final Countdown 1980. All 1981. Right.
Yeah.
And I have it on DVD. I guess I need to watch it again.
I've got it on my media library for sure.
I'll go with the Tomcat.
All right. Let's see here. All right, this is going to be tough for you, I think. The B-52 versus the A-10. See, I told you it'd be tough. I know it's your favorite airplane, but that's a tough choice.
Cue the Jeopardy theme.
Right.
Just for personal reasons, I'm going with the Warthog.
Okay. I'm taking the B-52, so that means we need to flip a coin.
You have a coin?
Yeah, I have a coin somewhere. Hang on. Where'd I put it? Here it is. All right. So now you can see it. It's a Euro coin. You get to be the 1, and I'll get to be the Da Vinci painting on the back. Are you ready?
Okay. All right.
Whoops, missed it. Hang on. And you, sir, are a winner. It flipped over on the 1. So we're going to
the A-10 moves forward.
Put the A-10 forward, and that's facing off with the Tomcat. Okay. Flying Fortress, SR-71 versus F-22. So I think this is a mimic of what's online as well. Tough one, right? Both planes with amazing capabilities. One with capabilities that were amazing in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and I guess into the 90s to a degree. And one that's had amazing capabilities since the aughts up to now. I think the F-22 is one of those fighters that doesn't get enough love. I mean, they've really, really, really pushed the shit out of the F-35 lately.
They really have.
And the F-22 has sort of gone in the background. And I know it had that oxygen problem. There was some stuff like that. But it's such a cool airplane. But I'd pick the Blackbird.
I do too. Right. And simply because, they say it's retired.
Yeah.
I still think it's still flying.
Yeah.
For certain alphabet agencies and things like that.
I think it still flies for NASA, by the way. They still have one that flies around for NASA.
So the thing is just amazing. And, when you're flying an airplane, an air-breathing airplane, that you have to wear a spacesuit because you come so close to the end of the atmosphere.
Like the U-2.
Plus it flies faster than a 30-06 bullet.
That's fast.
That's fast.
That joke, that great old joke about the airplane ground check. Yeah, and I don't remember it specifically, but look up ground check SR-71 joke, and it has the best punchline, especially if you're an aviation fan. It has the best punchline ever. Okay, and then the last one, P-51 versus F-4. This is tough. I've been sitting here thinking about this one of the three the most. The other three to me were pretty simple, actually. Even though I lost the A-10 thing, I'll suck that up. But the other ones were easy. This one is tough, and it's because I love both planes a lot. I think they both meant a lot. I think they're both sexy in their own ways. I think about the history of the Phantom in Vietnam. It was a Jolly Roger. I think about the checker tails of P-51. I think about the red tails. I think about all sorts of different shit with both of these planes.
I'll make my pick first, and you can decide.
All right.
Like you said, they're both fantastic airplanes.
Right.
They are. Anytime you think of classic aircraft, they are side by side.
Right.
I am, because of the longevity of the airframe, I'm going to go with the F4.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm going with the P-51.
Well, I'll tell you what. You take the P-51 since I got the last one.
All right, fair.
I'll be nice.
That was
it doesn't hurt me that the P-51 goes forward.
Yeah. All right. We're in the round of 4.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
Final.
This should be quick because we've already made our choices. But the first one you have is tough for you. Tomcat versus A-10.
I'm going with the 10, and I know you're going with the 14.
Yeah, we're going to have to flip a coin.
What'd you do with it?
You know what? You know what? I think at this point, I mean, all right, you're saying A-10, I'm saying Tomcat, so that one's going to be a draw. What would you say on SR-71 and P-51?
Blackbird?
Yeah, okay, so we can pretty much say at this point our 1, 2, 3. The 1 is disputed between Tomcat and A-10. But the 3 is definitely SR-71. And I think that pretty much settles it. I mean, there probably isn't a best to get at. If I were picking of the 3, I mean, it would be very difficult to me to pick between the SR-71 and the Tomcat. As far as, again, because all this is a popularity contest. It's a very sort of instinctual sort of, that plane. But to me, I mean, if I had a gun to my head, I'd probably pick Tomcat. But I could see, but we're going to say those are our top 3. I think Tomcat, A-10, SR-71. I figured the older planes were going to fall off fast, and they did online for sure. People love to talk about the nostalgia of old planes and things like that, but when when you put them up against modern aircraft, it's pretty difficult. So
it is, and especially with when the F4 can carry as much as a B-17 did on a full bomb load. So it's tough
wild
to compare.
All right, well, we are just about at the end of it, and we bored you with NFL draft and aircraft bracket and all of those things. We're going to have to bring some stronger stuff when we do this on Thursday. We're going to have to come up with some other ideas. So I got a new VPN today. Do you use VPN at home?
I do not.
Yeah, so I just got a new one. Our friend Vic recommended a new VPN to me, and I tried it out, and it seems to be working well, but it did something to my router, and I'm not comfortable with, but I'll go with it for a while, and if I have to, I'll fix it. So in any case, yeah, it's that's, if you're not aware, so there's like 50,000 Americans who live here, and they still like to watch American programming on Amazon Prime and Netflix and Hulu and other places. Specifically, as my phone goes crazy, they like to see like the house shows and some of the other things. Again, just like American type shows. And AFN does a modicum of that, but they have it on at certain times, so you have to watch it certain ways. But people want to watch what they want to watch. I think we've become a society of binge watchers. I almost said binge drinkers. I don't know why I almost said that. And we want to be able to have that catered to us. So here in Kaiserslautern and almost anywhere where expats are, you try to find a way to watch Netflix and watch others. And it's very much surprised me, actually, that the media companies haven't come up for a sort of a plan. And maybe I've heard that's what AFN's sort of working on, is sort of a la carte box that they give you instead of a cable box, or an app that you put on your phone where you can watch, I don't know, Everybody Loves Raymond or whatever the hell's on these days. And, you just do it that way like a Netflix or something else. But the way you do it here is you get a VPN, you tunnel into a United States IP address, and then you funnel your programming that way. They're all the Netflix and all these companies are well aware of this. They're aware that there's this many people. It's just a shame that they haven't done something to sort of say, here's your IP address for Netflix. Or like what Apple does, oddly enough, is at least when you buy content, is if you when you're in the United States store, you're there no matter what. So it's not like you flip over to the German store when you bring your iTunes over here. You're still in the United States store. But if you bring Hulu over here, it's unwatchable. They'll actually say, sorry, this app's not available outside the United States. Netflix just flips over to the German menu, which does have a lot of English programming, but it's also got a lot of programming that's dubbed and things like that. So, yeah, we changed our VPN. And
I have a device I got, maybe a year before I left the States. I won't say which one. But I go to those channels through that device. It's not a VPN. And I have not had any problem. Now, I do get it says this is number one in Germany on Netflix, say. This is number one in Germany, number two, whatever. Yeah. But as far as shows that come out, hey, I can see my friends saying, oh, this is great on Netflix or Prime or whatever. I can still watch them.
Right.
I haven't had any issue watching them. What I do have is, even this morning, I tried to watch a video, just an arbitrary video. This is usually what I get is from news stations. This is not available in Europe. We love our viewers in Europe, but this is not available. Yeah. That kind of thing.
Right, and there's still a lot of media outlets you can't go to because they haven't complied with the the EU thing that says you have to fix content a certain way and not suck up stats. And so, like, I tried to go to a thing last night. It was a factual story, but I couldn't access the site because it said, sorry, you're from the EU. We don't allow that. So there's definitely a much harsher regionalism that's falling on the internet these days, and that's kind of sad. But all right, we are out of time. We have done it again, and it is time for me to perhaps go cook some dinner or something like that. But anything else you want to add before we close out, Mr. Pennell?
Sorry, taking a selfie of myself. No, I think we did good. I did want to say we have a listener who apparently is listening every episode.
Wow.
We both know. We both are mutual friends of his.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
I asked him to be in a commercial. Yeah, of course. He didn't.
Did you really?
He didn't want to do it though, and I understand completely. So
for here.
I gave him a pass.
Or
for here. Yeah, I haven't told you the cons. I'll tell you when we're done recording. It's pretty funny, and it's a good thing I didn't make it last weekend because it's useless this week. So I'm going to try to see if I can work on it tomorrow through Saturday. So
you know him professionally as a friend, but through professional routes, correct? Yeah. He was my. How old was I? 6, 7, 6.
He's not that old. We can't be talking about the same dude.
JB?
No, we're not talking about the same dude.
Used to be a Denfos instructor?
I was talking about DP, which sounds awful that I just said it out loud.
No, I'm talking about...
Oh, yeah.
The guy from Boston.
Yeah. We're going to have to come up with a... you need to come up with it's your turn to go bracket, by the way, on Thursday, since we finished this one up. So you're in charge of the next bracket, whatever it may be. And maybe not do more than 16 of a thing, because I did 32 and it's taking fucking forever. So, all right, we got to wrap this up. Thank you for listening wherever you are. Of course, we will continue to throw this on Facebook until we get sick of it. You can also find us on iTunes, on Spreaker, on Spotify, on Google Play, on your mom. No, I'm just kidding. On anywhere, basically where you can find a podcast. you can find us. If you got something we want us to talk about, we'll do that. Send us a note, drop us a line, come see us at work, whatever it is. We are happy to talk about it. If you want us to play with the idea, we'll do that. We've both got some good ideas. We're hoping, and I've got this idea, we can get out and do an all golf podcast. I'll bring my portable with me, and we'll just hang it around my neck, and we'll do a podcast as we're walking the holes. That's my next idea. So we're going to do that for one of these. I'm just not sure when. Anyway, thanks for listening to this show.
The airplane thing was boring.
Yeah. No, that'll be great because we'll be like drinking and stuff. So anyway, thanks for listening to this show as a JK, and have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.